All right, hey y'all, it's your legal bestie, attorney Simone Redwine, with another episode of Girl, Is That Legal? And tonight's rant and rave is going to start with my hormones because I'm having a terrible day. And then it dawned on me everything was pissing me off, everybody was pissing me off. I just got off the phone with my home warranty people. Oh, by the way, if you have Old Republic home warranty, they're garbage, basura, trash. So let me know in the comments if you do have a home warranty company that you actually like. Let me know what they are because I'm not using American Home Warranty and I don't recommend that you do either. These people are basura. So everybody's pissing me off. I am doped up with so many hormones because I'm supposed to have my eggs retrieved. Shoot, I think it might be Saturday, which would be 2 days from now. 2 days from now or 4 days. I don't know, but I'm angry. Sorry, that's a little loud. I'm angry. I'm angry. And I'm frequently hungry. So, Linnell says, hi, how are you doing? I'm fine. Tanya says, good evening, everyone. Tara, hey, guys. Hey, come on in here. We're going to chit-chat. We're going to chit-chat about these crazy legal cases that are going on. I'm going to drop you some thoughts. Of course, I'm going to drop you some legal tea. And we're going to talk about a few things. So, on today's docket, no, I thought I was putting on what you call that stuff? I thought I was putting on a lip balm. I put on like jojoba oil, for the kind of supposed to be like for your elbows and your legs. It's disgusting. Excuse me. So I had the worst taste in my mouth ever. Oh wait, wrong docket. Here we go. Today's docket, we've got the fact that there was 1 billion social security numbers that were hacked and what to do if it happened to you. Miss Tina Knowles has filed for divorce and successfully received her divorce from Mr. Richard Lawson, which, if you have a mother that's in her like 50s or 60s and up, she probably at one point had a little crush on Mr. Lawson, who apparently is quite a busybody. We have the Susan Lorincz trial. That was a trial of the Karen neighbor who literally shot through her door and offed an African-American neighbor woman because she didn't like the woman's children and felt that her children were annoying her. We're going to talk about that. We also got Miss Keke Palmer. I can't believe I omitted Keke. Let me add that to we got Keke Palmer and her. I want to hear your thoughts on Keke Palmer, either getting back or just co-parenting with her baby daddy. What's his name? Darius. Keke Palmer and Darius. And also Jordan Chiles. Oh, cute little Jordan Chiles. They stripped her of her medal. Bronze medal scandal. And then whatever y'all want to drop in the chat, I want to hear about that too. Many have asked me if I'm going to be covering the YSL trial. I'm going to get back on that. So the answer is yes. It's a lot going on every day, but I want to do a video of the updates on that one so you guys are familiar. Let me see the comments where we're at. Hey, from Arizona. Oh my gosh, embracing your destiny. I'm going to be in Arizona next week, allegedly. I'm supposed to be there. We'll see how my love life goes, because at this point it's very strange. I just want to say, I want to reiterate, if you saw my prior video where I discussed that I am going to be making a seeking arrangements page to help me pay for this egg freezing process I'm letting you know I'm serious. Hide your granddaddies, hide your great uncles. I'm taking everybody's social security number. I'm sorry, not social security number, social security check. Speaking of social security numbers, so let's go on over to that story. Let's see. Here we go. Share that screen. Share the screen. FFD8 says, do you have any concerns with freezing my eggs in Texas? Great question. I will ship my suckers to Dubai if needed. I will ship them to Barbados. I will ship them to Timbuktu. Y'all not about to look. If I get to scramble up these eggs and put these things in the refrigerator, y'all not about to mess with these. I'm not. The reason I'm not concerned is because when I sit up in that thing, it's more than they look like this side of me than this side of me that in there. Okay, I'm like the only one. It'd be like one of me for every 10 of them that come through there. And so I just know if they take away IVF, our Caucasian cousins will be marching. They will be marching. They're not going to upset. They're not going to take away. They're not going to do it currently in this election year. No, are they going to do it later? At which point, my doctor's office, they actually do have a plan. They have offices in every state just about. And so it's my understanding that they would ship all of our unspoiled eggs to like California or New York for storage. That's my understanding. And I better have it right because I'm paying $35 for this. So it's no wonder I was open to send a little cooter if needed. All right, let me share this screen. So I said a freeze credit. I know that's right. Here we are. All right. So Instagram is shared. Ooh, I do this all the time. I put up a comment and forget to bring it down. All right. Instagram has shared that every American Social Security number and address may have been stolen in a hack. According to Spiritual World, it says, according to a hacker collective known as USDOD, 2.7 billion American records containing personal data, including Social Security numbers and physical addresses, have been taken. This was done via a hacker site. Now, this hacker site offered to sell the stolen records, which contained personal information of every person in the United States, the UK, and Canada. The information was taken from the National Public Data, which is a website that provides personal data to background check providers, employment firms, employers, and private investigators. Speaking of background checks, when we get back to this article, I am excited to announce I'm going to soon be announcing a new partnership that I have with a record company that is going to allow you guys, my subscribers, to have a membership with them. So you'll be able to get a membership with them and do your own background checks. Super simple, super easy. It's one of the websites that I use, I love, I subscribe to, and now you guys will have them at your fingertips as well. So I'm going to formalize that announcement next week, so you'll know about that. But here in this instance, here's what you do. You're going to go to each of the credit bureaus. You can go on their website, Experian, TransUnion, and Equifax, and you're going to ask them to put a freeze on your account. Super simple. You can actually do it online. I've done so. And the great thing about a freeze means nobody can open any new credit under your name. It is free to put a freeze, and you simply freeze and unfreeze. So I froze it, and then I needed to apply for some type of a loan. FEMA sent me a notice, said, hey, your credit report's frozen. Unfreeze it so we can make the determination, and then you can refreeze it. And that's exactly what I did. So it is that simple. All right, let me see these. The other two. Oh, it says, let's see. Clyde Broke again said the other two, TransUnion and Experian, are working just fine. I say go ahead and freeze all three, just because you don't want somebody to get in one and at the other. Freeze all three, it's free. Oh yes, I will definitely be talking about my experience freezing my eggs. Yep, I've been recording it, and I'll make that as part of the content too. I'll put it in its own content thing. Some people want to get to know me as a human, and so that can be for people who care about that, and I totally understand. For those who just want to come here and get the legality. Let's see. So yes, you want to put a freeze on your credit report. Yeah, everyone's information has been leaked at this point. Marriott says no one does anything. So I had years ago, I was part of a leak. Well, when I was in law school, and I went and I checked my bank account. I was like, how have I been so frivolous with my spending? But let me tell you something. $7,000 was gone out of nowhere. And I have to tell you, I have never been so happy to been hacked in my life. It was through PayPal, so I was able, and they made it look like it was a T-Mobile purchase, and I actually did have T-Mobile. So for the longest, I was like, why the heck would I pay $2,000 at T-Mobile? It was a hack, and I was able to get it all back. But I say that to say that's when I first needed. One of the times that I put a freeze on my credit report, and prior to that I was living in London and got my purse stolen with my passport in there. So you can put it on and take it off. Casey Johnson says, I keep mine freeze. How long is a freeze? The freeze is indefinite. The freeze is until you take it off. So it's totally up to you, is my understanding. All right. So that is that with that. Next up, let's talk about our girl, Keke. Here we go. What happened here? Here we go. And all Our girl Keke. Here we go. Share this one. So you may have seen the photos. Our girl Keke Palmer has reunited with her baby daddy Darius Johnson just months after dropping her restraining order and custody case. Are y'all ready for the real tea about Keke Palmer and her boo? Now, if you recall, Keke Palmer had released footage showing and claiming that he was abusing her physically. She released still shots that were supposed to be still shots from a video of interior security cameras inside of her home. Now, many people trolled Armand Wiggins, dragged Armand Wiggins because he released audio of Darius recording, I believe it was Keke and Keke's mother, and Keke admitting to having hit him at a point in time. Now, let's be clear. Keke initially got the restraining order, but I want to explain to you and make sure you understand how. The way that she got the restraining order was what's called an ex parte hearing, which means he never got a chance to tell his side of the story. Y'all, anybody can get an ex parte restraining order. That's just the truth. I know. I've got some Keke fans out here. I'm not saying it wasn't valid. What I'm just telling you is the process. Anybody can get an ex parte order because what happens is you go to the judge and you say, hello, Your Honor, this is so serious and this is such an emergency that I am asking you to grant this without a hearing. So what happens is it's just a temporary order. The maximum amount of time that it will last in most states is only 14 days. And that is because it is essential that the person that's alleged to be the aggressor get a chance to tell his side of the story and defend themselves. So here, she was able to get that. Now, you do have to submit something more than just you have to submit a petition and you have to submit a notarized statement that said this person hit me or did whatever. And we don't know. I don't know in her case whether or not she submitted the stills. Here's the thing. It is alleged that those still photos that Keke shared with the public, or at least her publicist or somebody from her team shared with the public, that those were not the whole story. That there was also video and that the video would show that Keke had stolen his phone and he was retrieving his phone. I found that interesting because what did Jonathan Majors, what was he found guilty of? Retrieving his phone. It looked terrible. It looked ridiculous, but you do have a right to retrieve your phone. And when you look at the footage again, I'll see if I can play it and put it all together. If you look at the footage, it does look like they're grabbing at something, they're wrestling at something. Allegedly, he had been talking to an ex-girlfriend. Keke had an issue with that and she wanted to see his phone. She got the phone and they were fighting over it because he probably was cheating. But she got the temporary restraining order without a hearing. Then when it came time for the hearing, guess what? She dropped the charges. Let's talk about why might someone drop the charges and not pursue a permanent restraining order against the other person? She probably didn't want to get embarrassed by the facts, which would be she couldn't win. If the two of y'all are wrestling over a phone, that's not grounds. That's one example that would not be grounds for a permanent restraining order. It could also be that it wasn't the issue as it was initially presented to us. More than likely, the main reason why people don't generally pursue that. Now, of course, there are situations where someone is a victim of DV and they are terrified. And the other partner will say, you better drop those charges or I'm going to hurt you some more. That absolutely happens. Here, however, she had the public behind her. This was a public matter. So it's likely, I'll say this, it would not be unheard of if she chose to not pursue the permanent restraining order because he hadn't actually abused her. It could have been the cell phone fight that was alleged. It could have been. And it also could be that she doesn't want to keep him away from his child. It could have been that they were in a relationship and that they had a tiff that just went too far. And then they put all of us in their business. See, we didn't get in their business. They put us in their business. And when you put us in your business, it's real hard to get us out. We feel invested, right? Keke's our girl, for those who love Keke. For those who feel like he was treated unjustly, they want to stay in the business because they want to see if he's going to get justice. But also an important thing is, if I was Keke, if this man is not touching me, if I'm not worried about the safety of my child around this man, which appears was not the case, because throughout all of this, aside from those initial 2 weeks that she had her temporary restraining order, this man's seen his son. Most people the women that I know who were victims of DV have concerns that the child will also be a victim of their partner's aggression and fight to the nail and the tooth to keep that person away from their child, in my experience. The other thing is that y'all have heard me talk about Bad Barbie. Y'all have heard me talk about Halle Berry. Keke, y'all want to mediate this, which is what they did. You don't want this kind of matter, a child custody matter, in the courts of California. Here's why. Keke's mama, she messed her up. Here's how. Yes, she was cussing that man out and calling him names and saying he was GAY and whatever. We already know my theory on that. Like, I can handle about 10% gay, but I need you to be at least 51% straight. That's just me. That's not her. It wasn't the things her mother said with respect to insulting him. The issue was in a phone conversation. The mother says to him, Keke don't need you. Keke just signed a $30 million deal. Oh, shoot, mama, shut up. Shut it, mom. Because Keke, literally the two of them, if they went to child support court in California, because of the way it's calculated, Keke and him would have 50-50 custody, as an example, especially because of how busy she is, how she has to travel. Keke would have 50-50 and still have to pay this man $10,000 to $20,000 a month, just like Halle Berry did. Remember, Halle Berry had to pay her first baby daddy, I believe it was $16,000 a month. He was the model. But in California, when one partner makes so much more than the other, and Keke's own mama says she signed a $30 million contract, we don't do that no more, mama. For that reason, he has the ability to go to the court and say, my resources are less, and the child under California law is entitled to have the same luxuries at mama's house as at my house. And, Keke calls me a loser and she calls me all those things, and I can't work as much because now I've been blackballed. Whatever he says, a court's going to be like, yeah, the law is the law, and it has to be applied to men in the same way it's applied to women. Because if we flipped it, if this was, Dr. Dre is the guy and the woman is Instagram model, you better believe she'd be getting $30,000 a month because of the differential in what they earn. That's all I'm saying. So the two of them ended up mediating this, and now they're getting along fine. That's great. We should encourage that. But I think a lot of people just feel like they were duped. They felt like they were baited into really dogging this man and with given limited facts. So that's why I always say, look, number one thing I would say in the future, because y'all are the jury now. Subscribers, viewers, y'all, I call y'all the jury. Listen, jury. When we looking at evidence, when someone has video footage of anything, but all they release are still shots, it's for a reason. Or when they release a component of it, like I'll just say still shots when you have a full video. And I believe there was, I didn't, maybe there was a video, I just didn't see it. But when people release still shots and there's a video, it's usually because the whole video is going to tell a different story. All right, let's see these comments. Melanie says, Keke's mama's reaction was enough for me to think there was some abusive. Yeah, the mother was with it. The mother, and in fact, in one of the comments, the mother has said, oh, that's just Keke. Like he said, well, your daughter hit me, and she didn't seem to think that was anything unusual. And a lot of people do feel like, oh, well, that's just an emotional woman. Darius works at a gym as a personal trainer. Here's the thing. You can't get with a poor person and then be mad that they're poor. You like that poverty at first. You like that poverty when they were dogging you down. When they were dogging you down. You know what word I mean to say, but my mama watches this sometime. Okay? If they was all right, if you like that poor D, you don't get to complain about them, call them losers later. Okay? Who was it? Who was one of those? Talking about some, I don't know, Tyler Perry, one of them people talking about, oh, you shouldn't try to change the man. If you meet him, you shouldn't try to make him be more ambitious. Take them as they are. That is why I cannot get moist for poor people. All right. Anyway, it's not about me. Purple Rain said, I remember another radio interview she did where she said she was working on being more forgiving and not automatically cutting off people that wrong her anymore. And if I were a celebrity at her level, I would be a lot more selective with who I have as friends, and I would probably be more quick to cut people off too, just because you got a lot to lose. Purple Rain says, I remember her being on Steve Harvey's show, and he was trying to set her up with actual verifiable rich men, but she kept complaining about how they're boring, basically. Aww. I don't think she got a chance to go to college. Did Keke put it in the chat? I don't think she did. Because, baby, you need to hang out with like some FAMU men, some Howard men. They are the furthest thing from boring. Girl, find you one of the men that was in SBI at FAMU. Woo! First of all, they rich now. They probably rich at this point. They're they 10, 15 years out, girl, they all right. And second of all, they're going to be your intellectual equal. They're super fun. She probably just hadn't been exposed to men that can do both. The smart guys that also do well for themselves. It's not, they're not everywhere, but they're there. All right, it says Keke and Darius are toxic. I knew she would be back based on those videos that came out with her. Cody says, I don't get it. Women go back to their abusive partners 7 times before they leave. Why do we think this is anything different? Great point, Cody. Great. Oh, Purple Rain said Bad Barbie is back with her abuser too. He's a low-key a weirdo since he's 26 and they dated when she was barely legal. Yep, he's weird and no one can tell what he does. I love how people if your man don't have a job, you call him a rapper. Back in the 2000s, if your man didn't have a job, you said he was in real estate. I do real estate. I lived in Atlanta for a semester in law school. All them men talking about, I do real estate. What they do is they cause houses to go in foreclosure and don't pay the note, and then the feds come after them because they were doing some mortgage appreciation fraud. But that's not my business. All right, just like a Virgo. Purple Rain said her mom said that Courtney Vance was trying to help her out with it since he's a Harvard drama alumni. Oh, help her with dating? Oh, okay. She didn't go to college. Okay. Yeah. One of the things we all know going to college does not mean you're going to be rich or any of that. But one of the values is I just think like finding other intellectual equals, that kind of stuff, could be very valuable with that experience. So, all right. That's that on Miss Keke. All right. Now we're going to talk about Mama Tina. I love calling her Mama Tina because my Keister, my cousin's sister, Noni, she used to have a babysitter named Mama Tina. That was like an auntie to her. Anyway, Miss Tina Knowles. So Miss Tina Knowles' divorce settlement has been revealed. She has to pay Mr. Richard Lawson $300,000 lump sum. Neither party can speak negatively, though, about Beyonce or Blue Ivy. Let's get more into the details. So the two of them, they have settled their divorce with ex-husband Richard Lawson. Now, Richard Lawson, he was a sex symbol, y'all. A sex symbol in the 80s. I think it was General Hospital, and he was on those things. He was in all that stuff. Now, Miss Tina is 70 now, y'all. And she submitted an agreement that covers all outstanding issues. Now, Tina and Richard, I can't call her Tina. It's Miss Tina. Miss Tina and Richard were on Black Love, the series. And I really liked watching the series. And the gist of what she had communicated, if you remember, she was married to Beyonce's dad, Matthew Knowles, forever. And he cheated not once, but twice, having side babies. And I can't remember if she divorced him after the first side baby or the second. But Mr. Knowles is just out there wayward. And like, he wasn't even selective. And the girl is like a little bit older than me. I was like, ew, why are you? Her bills must have been too high. I hope my cable bill will never be that high. Well, not only will I go with an old man, but I'm going to go with an old man that's somebody else's husband. Girl, bye. Well, anyway, Miss Tina got rid of him then. Of course, it was sad. It was depressing, but she was ready to move on with her life. She dedicated so much of her life to her kids and her husband, and he's going to go do this nasty mess, right? So, she actually had known Richard for over 30 years at that point because Richard's sister was her best friend. So she told the story of how at some point her best friend, she was hanging out with her best friend and they had called Richard or ran into him. I can't remember which one. And he had told her, Tina, I've always thought you were the most beautiful woman. I would love to date you. And she was like, boy, bye. Forget it. No, like I've known you for, no. including Beyonce and his daughter, Bianca Lawson, who was on Queen Sugar. They like grew up and they were like friends and cool and blah, blah, blah. But fast forward, she ends up changing her mind. Miss Tina changed her mind. They go on a date. It was amazing. And that was it. But if you remember the cause of the divorce, well, it tracked. Let me give you the dates. They wed. It says Tina and Richard, who is 77. So she's 70. She's a young tender. Oh, I can't wait to be 70 and be considered a young tender. Well, I plan to die at 69, but that's another story. She's 70. He's 77. They married in 2015, April 12th of 2015, and separated July 25th, 2023. Tina filed for divorce July 26th. Stay with me. So we're going to talk about the cause of this little divorce. What this say? Say what now? Richard Lawson get this ad off of here. Gone. Okay. Say what now? Richard Lawson deactivates his Twitter account after not safe for work tweets were discovered. The date, July 28th. So we just said, oh my God. She called, she they separated, I think it was the 26th of July, the same year. Yep, they separated. Yeah, they separated on the 25th, and she filed on the 26th, 2 days late. So this was all because it was based in part on his tweets, y'all. So basically, bless his little 77-year-old heart, he did not know other people can see what you liked on Twitter. And apparently he was liking some nasty ish, y'all. He was liking butt stuff. He was allegedly all kind of nastiness. It says, amid veteran actor Richard Lawson is getting a side eye from folks on Twitter after they discovered a series of not safe for work tweets in his likes. As you may or may not be aware, on the app, likes are not hidden and available to see from any user's profile page. Unfortunately for Mr. Lawson, as the news of his divorce began circulating online, some people on Twitter found his official Twitter page and found the shock of the day when they discovered several explicit pornographic videos in his likes section. Now, guys, they recently hid likes. And some people were up in arms. Some people were like, oh, good. Now my girlfriend's not going to find out. Now their happy home isn't going to be disturbed like Miss Tina's house was. It says, naturally, upon the discovery, he became the talk of the timeline, with many expressing their shock and dismay. Somebody said, you know your Twitter likes are public, right? Richard Lawson is like, oh. Now, I'm not saying it. It said, oh, the horniest people I know, the horniest people I follow are saying Richard Lawson's likes are filthy. So I definitely do not need to see them for myself. Someone else wrote, I just saw a video of Richard Lawson's likes. I wish I could unsee the video of his likes. I tried to find the video of the likes, but I couldn't find that. Waking up to Richard Lawson's Twitter likes.
Nigga, did you know that I can see
you? Sorry. So to clarify, I'm not saying the likes were the cause, but after they found his divorce, people went and saw the likes and were like, oh, wait a minute. So I don't know if he had a porn addiction. We don't know, or if he stepped out. We don't know what it was, but apparently whatever he was looking at was wild. Somebody, Gia said, he's a dirty old man. Let's see. What did Proman said? It's true though, giggles. What did Kelly's husband really do before and since dating her? No record. Ooh, over here. Oh, Pro Woman said, we are not doing ugly old men anymore. Miss Tina and Richard Lawson look good for 70. That's true. That is true. So going back to the Tina, here are the results. Here's what was split and what each party is getting. It states that, here we go. I'm going to share this. It says regarding their community, it says the parties agree irreconcilable differences have arisen between the parties, which have led to the irremediable breakdown. irretrievable, whatever, breakdown of the marriage, making it impossible for the parties to live together as husband and wife. That just doesn't even sound right. I think they were doing too much with those words. But it says, regarding their community property, Tina was awarded a 2018 Tesla, a 2020 Bentley, the Matriarch book deal with Penguin Random House, a 1% interest in Kirby Beauty Management, furniture and artwork in her possession, all creative works, ideas, drafts, and other materials that were generated by her during the marriage. Okay, now that's normal. I'm going to break down what they got here. Okay, Richard was awarded a 2021 Cadillac, several bank accounts and retirement accounts, all money owed to Richard Lawson Studios, any royalties earned, all creative works he came up with during the union. The deal said Tina was awarded her separate property, which included her LA home, a property in Texas, all furniture in her properties, all jewelry in her possession, her retirement accounts, and all earnings she accumulated since the date of separation. That's why separation date is super important. So if you're dating someone's husband, one of the many reasons you want him to go ahead and file for divorce is because the date of separation really stops the clock as far as calculations for lots of things. So for example, in Texas, if you've been married under 7 years, you can't even think about getting alimony. So some people will live in misery intentionally to get past that 7-year mark so that they can be entitled to at least a shot at getting alimony. But if you were to have a date of separation that is prior to that 7-year mark, you stop the need to discuss alimony. And remember, that can be either side. All right, Richard, it says Richard was awarded all rights to his studio work, jewelry, clothing, royalties, and all rights to his pension. Now, what's interesting here is it says Tina was awarded her separate property. Many people think, I don't need no prenup. I already own property before we got together. Girl, man, first of all, don't be like Rachel Lindsay now. She gonna tell you she should have had a prenup, even though she didn't have shit at first when they got together. But with separate property, what happens is if any of the joint marital funds are used to pay your mortgage of your separate property or anything for the mortgage, the taxes, the insurance, the other partner has a right to some of the monies or the revenues or the equity that was garnished from the separate property. So here it was a clean cut. But we go further down. It says Richard will have to cover his own credit card debt, all debt related to his Cadillac. However, Tina agreed to pay a one-time payment, $300,000 to Richard. The exes agreed neither party will receive spousal support. Ew! I don't want to give you anything, you nasty old man. 300 nothing. I can't believe he was okay with receiving it. It makes me wonder, what are the surrounding facts? Obviously, we don't know that. But ew, I don't want to have to give no nasty old man $300,000. See, the reason I have to have a prenup in my marriage is because if not, I'm going to end up on Snapped. Okay? I'm going to end up on Snapped. He's going to have to go bye-bye. Because what I'm not going to do is have you do something that embarrasses me to where I got to let you go, right? And then I got to pay you $300,000. How about I just pay for your funeral? It's going to be cheaper because we're going to cremate you and throw you down the toilet. Not even in a lake, not even at a beach. Flush you down the toilet. But I will put like, some hookah ashes or something in the urn, like give it to your kids so they think you're still there. I know. It's thoughtful of me. Anyway, moving on along. So that's them. That's the breakup. It's really disappointing. Oh, but then also the final provision that I found interesting was that neither one of them can disparage the other or their kids or their grandkids. So I thought that was nice. So it very well could have been perhaps maybe Miss Tina wanted to pay him the $300K so that with respect to the disparagement, but also that it sounds to me like she didn't have a prenup. And child, Miss Tina, you can't. I understand that you're a seasoned woman, but you can't be marrying nobody without a prenup, girl. But you can't tell your mom nothing. I'm sure Beyonce was like, Mama, you really need to. I know you know Mr. Lawson all my life, but still, Mama, you can't do that. And she was like, girl, Beyonce, you can't tell me what to do. I'll be all right. You know our mothers. Anyway, Purple Rain. So is it a porn addiction broke up the marriage? We don't know for sure, but that's what it looks like. I mean, that is exactly what it looks like. Again, we're not for sure, but it sure looked this way. All right. Next up on the docket, we've got. Take that off. All right. We got Keke Palmer. We did Darius. Oh, Susan Lawrence. I hate that lady. I think I already talked about her. All right. Jordan Chiles, just real quickly. Poor Jordan. We just love cute little Jordan. She's just as sweet as can be. I'm just pissed at how they've done her. So Jordan Chiles has been stripped. What? Go away. All these pop-ups. Sorry. We don't care about this. All right. Jordan Chiles has been stripped of her gold medal. Unfortunately for Jordan, it was found that the claim is that the appeal for rescoring that was done too late. However, they went back. Her team actually submitted proof. So the timeline for submitting an appeal, if you have an issue with any of the scoring, is 1 minute. The claim was that she submitted her claim 1 minute and 3 seconds. So 3 seconds too late, or 4 seconds, whatever it was. But the truth was, it was done within 47 seconds. It was the Romanian team girl who contested. So the coach for the Romanian team, they went back, they looked at it. And interestingly, the head of the committee that was going to determine whether Jordan should be stripped of her title or not was previously the Romanian team coach, interestingly. So we all know Jordan wasn't done right. But what made it even more egregious is that the committee had the ability and the right to decide to simply let them both have bronze. They did not have to strip her, but they chose to. And remember, the optics of this, and what was fascinating here was that this was the first time ever in the history of the Olympics where all three of those people standing on that winning podium were Black. Were Black gymnasts. That's never happened in the history of gymnastics before. Now, I'm not going to say that race was involved, but I do find that to be a little coinky-dink. What do you think in the chat? And I'm going to move on with that. We're going to talk about this little Karen lady who done got on my last nerve. And then we'll be out of here. This woman, excuse me. Sorry, I didn't mean to be so loud there. Let me see. Sunman asked, did I do the background check on Evelyn Zada? I sure did. And it's one of the videos you can find further back. I think it was like 3. People have been commenting on it. They commented on it like daily. So, yep, I sure did. Just going back and check. It was one of the lives that I've done. Here we go. With her experience, she highly coincidental. Yeah, Simone B says, hey, Simone, good to see you. It's highly coincidental. All right, so this lady here is Susan Lorincz. We'll call her Lawrence. Susan Lorincz. You know I'm not great with names. And the issue with Susan Lorincz is a true Karen. So this is the case where Susan Lorincz called the cops on her neighbors. Susan was renting a home. Her neighbor was renting a home nearby, next door. And there's an empty lot in the neighborhood. The neighbor's children like to play in the empty lot. That's what kids do. Susan Lorincz called the cops more than 12 times, complaining about the noise that the kids were making because they played outside too loud. They laughed too loud. They had a good life. Look at her face. She's not had a good life. She's probably jealous of these children. She's probably jealous of anyone who wasn't addicted to carbs and sorrow. That's all you see in her face. Although I love carbs too. My point is that this Susan woman, she really had it out for the neighbors. She called 12 times. The cops continued to tell, and she would lie. She would flat out lie. She would say that the children had done things that they hadn't done. She kept saying that the children were trespassing. Listen, she don't own that property. The only person who can claim someone is trespassing is someone who owns that property. Even if you're renting a property and you're renting a whole house and they're in your yard, that's one thing, but that's not what was happening. These children were on an empty lot minding their business. And what happened on the final night was that the children had played in that empty lot. One of the children had left his iPad and I guess some roller skates. So he realizes it. He goes back over to the property. She has the boy's iPad. She takes the iPad and she chunks it at him, right? So she throws it at him as well as some roller skates. He goes in the house and tells his mama. His mother then goes over and knocks on her door to confront her about why she has assaulted her child. Yes, chunking a computer, chunking anything at someone is considered assault, but especially a kid. This woman aims her gun at the door, shoots, and in one shot, unalives the mother. The shot went right through her heart. Karen is claiming self-defense, as well as the fact that she's claiming that the gun malfunctioned and went off. The case is started on Tuesday, so it's been going on for 2 days. But we need a guilty verdict here. No questions asked. Hi, Amir Couture. We need a guilty verdict. And here's the thing. Back when we had George Floyd, that situation, there were so many American corporate companies that came out and said, we stand with the African-American community, blah, blah, blah. Well, this is the time where we need you to put your money where your mouth is. We need you to speak up. We need you to speak to this. Because here's the thing. If you are allowed to get away with shooting a shot through your door with no repercussions, what does that say for companies like Uber Eats or Domino's Pizza, where you have delivery people all the time that come and knock on the door? She didn't know who was knocking on her door. She may have heard the woman on the other side. That's fine. But what you cannot get away with in the United States of America is firing a shot through a door. Listen, B, you didn't call the cops 12 times on this woman. Why didn't you do it 13? You were in your house. There is no reason you could not have made the 13th phone call like you had all the other times. I believe that this woman had her wits end. Karen was at her wits end. That's not her real name. Her real name is Susan. She was at her wits end because every time she called the police, she wasn't getting the result that she wanted. Because the result that she wanted was a racist result. The result that she wanted was for those kids who are enjoying themselves to not be happy. Meanwhile, all she had to do was move. You're renting, boo-boo. You don't own the house. Get up and go. But in the end, hopefully, the jury here will do what's right and not let her off. I don't care if her gun malfunctioned. The fact that she had a gun pointed at the door to me and chose to do that instead of calling the police says to me she knew exactly what she was doing. She probably thought she was just going to scare the woman. But there are all kind of people in prison for life who thought that all they were going to do was scare the other side. And this should be no different. This is Florida. And this is time that we get justice in Florida. This is not a stand your ground situation. The woman was on the other side of the door. That could have been a child. What if that woman was standing there with her child? This is an issue of community protection, and the community needs protection against people like her. I had a conversation once in law school with one of my peers who was a wonderful, a really sweet person that was very sheltered, living in a small town, Pennsylvania. And they said, well, Simone, I said something or another was clearly racist. I said, well, how do you know? How do you know it wasn't just, and they named some alternative. I said, listen, at the fundamental level, racism is simply not giving another human being the benefit of the doubt because of their race. And she was like, well, it's not that simple. I said, it is. Because just because this race is doing something, you're not going to treat them as human. You're not going to give them the benefit of the doubt. You're not going to give them the benefit of a mistake. That's what racism is. And it's just a simple term. There are other more complex ways to define it. And here, yes, they had prior issues, this, that, and the third. But I do believe that this woman, Susan here, firmly and fully believed she could shoot this lady through the door and get away with it. So the facts will be revealing and stuff. I'm gonna follow up and cover a bit more. This case could go to the jury any day now, but it's going to be a really important one just for the nation, but also for Florida. So anything else? Let me see if I missed anything else. What is the case? So the case is the case of, and it's in the caption and below, the case of Susan Lorincz is how it's pronounced, but you see how it's spelled, Lorincz. Hit that like, y'all. Hit that subscribe. Thank you so much for supporting me. And we're going to have another background check episode coming up. I'm playing some of the older ones that many haven't seen, and we've got some, because we're gearing up for some of the new ones. So continue support. Let me know down below, what other topics would you like me to cover? Thanks again for tuning in to your legal bestie, Attorney Simone at Girl, Is That Legal?